Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Midwest Coven Cast. I'm Marilyn.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Susie.
And Susie's again remote, although it is our second time doing this, so
we have it better.
Yeah, it was a slightly more organized situation this time.
A little less awkward than last time.
The only downfall is I do have my daughter playing in the background, so pardon any...
So if there's ambient noise on your end, it's just her playing.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll still keep it, not as interruptive, but...
All right. Well, I'm going to light our candle.
Yay.
Ooh, I forgot. I actually was going to do the same thing on my end over here. Last time I, didn't. And I was like, man, why didn't I do that?
I feel so bad that this was your candle you brought, and now you've been quarantined each time we've lit it.
You know what? It's okay. It's honestly
You'll be out of quarantine next time.
Yes. That's why I'm like, it'll still be good.
Yeah.
So, yay. We'll send you pictures of it. So you can at least admire it from afar.
And you can judge how far it's burning to get our predictions. And
so
we already made our predictions, but...
Yeah. Well, that would be a good thing for us to cover then first, since, that per tradition, as we have begun our traditions.
You said you just let an incense?
Yeah, just because that's what I had available right away. I had one
in my... What?
It works.
You're making it work.
It works.
That's right.
It does work.
We carved the pumpkin, though. So, predictions from last week, we can do.
We documented our predictions.
Yes.
So, Sam, yours was...
Well, to be fair, I want to let them know again that the pumpkin that I carved to scoop the seeds out of, I bought after we already made our predictions. So I kind of got to cheat and choose my pumpkin accordingly to what my guess was.
That is kind of true. We probably should have all seen the size of the pumpkin first and then went after predictions. But it is what it is.
Fine.
But we're doing this our own way, people.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
That's right. Literally.
So I guessed really high at 649. And then Marilyn was after that at 579. And then Susie was the lowest guess at 376.
I don't know why I put your pumpkin at so low.
What was the number?
We had 718 seeds in that puppy.
Holy shit.
That's a lot of seeds.
And Dylan dipped out on me after 300 and made me count them by myself.
He's like, you're the one that made the prediction, Mom, not me. I don't care how many there are.
He's like, this is above my level, Mom. There's too many hundreds.
He's like, I'm recognizing my limits, Mom. Thanks, though.
To be fair, math is the subject that I slack the most in for homeschooling. The new math concepts and the way they do math now is just so infuriating to me that I haven't really pared down a curriculum that I like to follow because it's nonsense math.
Well, it's so different the way that they teach math now because the way they taught it to us is so abstract. And so now they're trying to teach kids in ways that they can visualize it for themselves, but it's so antithetical to the way that we learned.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it's probably better that they're learning that way because they could probably do it in their head easier than we could.
Yeah.
But it's very frustrating for parents who didn't learn that way.
Well, I did see the benefit of it when I was doing the counting of the seeds because I have a 100 chart, which I'm still making. I've been taking 10 months just to make this 100 chart. But we put the seeds, we put 10 on each space of the chart to go to start. So each row would be 100 because there's 10 across and then 10 on each one. And then we made 10 frames out of the seeds. So 2 rows of 5 side by side. And I said that a million times yesterday counting these damn seeds. 2 rows of 5 side by side. And but so I do see the visual and it does help. But for someone who, when I was in school, I struggled to show my work. And so now having to break the work down even more steps and take more time to do the work, it's just backwards to what my brain wants to do.
Right.
So, but anyways.
So Sam won because she stacked the deck. No.
I did some research and I found out that every rib a pumpkin has is approximately 10 seeds. So I found a really ribby pumpkin. For her
I
pleasure.
have the highest prediction. I'm going to make sure I win. What's the ribbiest pumpkin I can find?
The most ribs.
Oh, man. Okay, so Sam was the closest. So let's get into our topic of the day, which is music.
I'm so excited for this one.
I think this is something that the three of us very much have in common, is we all love music. We have like sort of our own tastes and things like that, but in essence, music is just, it speaks to all of us.
I think that's relatable for most people.
I agree.
I think so too. Let's talk a little bit then about like our experiences with music. Like, I mean, obviously there's like the aspect of like listening to it, but there's so much more. Like, perhaps we've been involved in like bands or whatever.
I'd say I'm more or less a listener. Like, as far as my experience for like creating and making music goes, I literally was only like, I was in the Fine Arts Academy and I was in some choirs, and then I like was in a couple musicals in that same grade level yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm more of a listener.
In a Fine Arts Academy, so
yeah.
You were a dancer though, and dancing kind of, you need music.
Oh, of course, yes. But I'm saying as far as me being a music creator, I'm not a music creator. I am a music fan / listener, and I internalize it, but I don't express it, I guess. I sing in the car alone, obviously, or like in the shower. But that's pretty much everybody, too. Yeah, that's my karaoke, all by myself.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I pretty much have to offer as far as music experience. But I know the two of you probably have a little more than myself, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been a creator, and music has been a part of that. I write my own music. And
ever since you were a kid, girl, like, I remember growing up with you, you were constantly always writing, you were always doing piano, like, you've gotten into the guitar over the years, like...
Yeah.
I mean, you've always loved music.
I don't want to, like, overstate anything. I'm not great at the guitar. I'm not great at the piano. What I know, I've taught myself.
You're better than me.
Although I did play the flute when I was young.
You can hold a good melody.
Yeah, well, I can do a little. I just don't want to like overstate my abilities in those.
Be like, I am an artist. Well, you are an artist, but
not as experienced as some other people.
Making it takes a lot of work, and I don't want to discredit anyone who's out there like making their livelihood out of their musical career. And maybe I sing in my shower, so I'm a musician.
Right.
But, like, other than that, I mean, like, we have collectively gone out to do, like, karaoke before or whatever. So, Sam, your brother Steve, or Susie's and my cousin, so...
Yes.
If this hasn't been clear to our listeners, we are family. But Steve loves karaoke. Like, anytime he can go out and do a karaoke night, he is like so down.
He's the only person that has gotten me to sing karaoke, and I am so uncomfortable doing it, but it was so fun that night that we went out together. Oh my gosh, that was really, really fun.
That's
and I will never forget
though.
it.
Like, I mean, even I, with karaoke, I'm so shy about performing.
But you shouldn't be, because you're great. Me, I'm shy because I suck.
But I don't think you're as bad as you think you are.
Well,
I think you're actually... a lot better than a lot of people.
I mean, I did get the parts when I tried out in the grade school for the high school thing. So I mean, I couldn't have been that terrible, but I'm no you or like, you know, I'm no Whitney Houston.
Well, I'm no Whitney Houston, so you're okay, girl.
I've actually only done karaoke one time.
Only once, really?
I've gone with you guys, but like when you guys have gone more recent years, I have Dylan, so I haven't really been showing up to those.
Mom life.
Yeah, but I went one time, I think it was on like my 30th, maybe it was my 29th birthday, but I sang Strawberry Wine by Deanna Carter, and I'm pretty sure I did terrible because some random guy in the audience came and started singing with me for like half the song because he was like, no, I got this. And
like, thanks for showing me up, bro.
But it was a good time, so
yeah, Steve and I used to live together and whatever, and we would go do karaoke a lot, like in the college town that we were in, and that was sort of like just how karaoke worked. You'd start, and then you'd have like some drunk college chicks or a dude come over and be like, "Let me sing with you," and you're just like, okay.
"This looks fun. Let me join." Well, no, honestly,
I wanted the limelight, you asshole.
I feel like the people that suck get more of the audience to pay attention to them than the people that are up there like doing the greatest job they could, you know?
Right, because they can relate to them more. They're like, oh god, look at that guy, that could be me, but like that it's not me.
Well, I found some good things come from karaoke. I actually met someone, her name was Sharon, and we actually started a band as a result of her hearing me sing at karaoke. And we had a very short-lived band.
What was your name?
We did not have one.
Oh.
We practiced a few times, and so Sharon and I, so we had two people besides Sharon and I who were in the band, but even prior to the band, quote unquote, that only met a few times, Sharon and I actually met, and she played guitar, which at the time, I know some guitar now, but I knew basically nothing. This was like 10 something years ago. So anyways, Sharon, she's an amazing guitar player. She actually learned from, there's a local guy, but he's actually quite famous in the guitar world. Justin had Olivia take lessons from him. I'm trying to remember his name. Why can I not remember? Anyways, long story short, though, she's an amazing guitarist. And she's actually been in several bands since then and whatever. And she actually has a YouTube channel called Strings and Brews, where she does like metal versions of things or plays guitar over, like, her first video was like this amazing metal-ish version of Britney Spears' Toxic. It was really good.
Like, punk and metal, like, remixes of popular songs are like my favorite thing. You
might love her channel then. And I just love her attitude. She's just so fun. She kind of looks a little bit like Avril Lavigne, and she's so fun. I miss her. But yeah, check out her YouTube channel called Strings and Brews. She's amazing. Although our band was short-lived, it was a lot of fun. I think actually, because I obviously watch/follow her YouTube videos. I think, unless she's taken it down in the last, like, few months or something like that, I think there is actually a video of me singing on her YouTube channel, because she started the YouTube channel like years ago, and then she just like sort of rebranded it recently to this like Strings and Brews thing. Mm-hmm. And so she had a few videos up and I was a little bit behind, so I went and I looked at like the videos channel or the piece of the videos list or whatever on her channel, and I scrolled down because there's not that many videos there, and I saw like one from like eons ago, and it was like playing at the house. I don't know, I can't remember what location it was, but it was one of the shows we did together, and it was like one or two songs I think that she has with me. I think. Wait,
you guys actually like played at together?
We played a couple shows together, just not the full band, just Sharon and I. But she would play guitar and I'd sing, and I think she has like 2 videos up there of her and I.
Gonna expose those.
Heck yeah. Links below. No.
Well, Sharon will be excited. She'll get some traffic on her YouTube channel. Although it gets some traffic anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah,
it sounds.
But
great.
I think I'm trying to remember like what songs it was, because it was like several months ago that I saw. I think it was like Blackbird. I think so, like the Beatles song, and then I think I'm also up there with her singing. I think it's When I Die Young from the band Perry.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah. So
that's one of my like go-to car karaoke songs. So
it's a good song.
Oh my God. Do you remember Steve when he picked us up and he would sing Alanis Morissette with the windows all down?
He gets it when he sings. He's like,
I will never forget that day.
Is
yeah,
a whole level.
Oh, the greatest. Well, he's got a whole like. Didn't he have a like channel, or like was it just every day he was posting it on his Facebook or something? His morning
I think on Fridays
song
when he was
sing.
commuting.
Yeah,
he would do like car karaoke until Facebook started taking him down because copyright and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that started when he
that.
first started DJing, because he's he is a DJ, or was? I'm not sure how involved he is.
Technically, still is.
Yeah,
just not as he just doesn't do it as much as he was doing it. I think
he would like to. Yeah,
right.
Which so I've always, growing up with my brother, saw him as like the nerdy band geek. You know, like He was quiet. He always did his academics. And then he becomes a DJ, and like it was just a completely different like side of him that like I wasn't exposed to, like just being his sister, because like we weren't like super cool. We didn't hang out all the time. Like we didn't hate each other, but we weren't like
when you guys
brother
are
and
young, you
sister.
did not get along as well as you do now.
Yeah.
I have a whole summer worth of horror stories when I babysat.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't as bad as I'm making it out to sound, but there were some
I
moments.
feel like we might have manipulated a lot of situations. So.
Well, you even like in your adult years, like I think it was like after you started babysitting, you're like, I'm so sorry.
To all my babysitters.
After she had Dylan.
But yeah, but Steve, I think he brings it out of people because he likes to party and stuff like that. But it's so funny because he's so like straight edge up until he like finally turned 21. Like he did not drink until he was 21. Like he's very I don't know. He's just like until he got that age and he started like drinking and stuff like that. And he's not even like a drunk or anything like that. I don't want to give that impression.
He's a social drinker.
But like he's a social drinker and he's very social, and it's like it kind of brought him out of his shell a little bit, which is
I think he helps others break out of their shells,
too.
is what I love about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, that's one of the things growing up. I always thought Steve, not necessarily as like a band geek, but I always thought him as so creative and always excelling at everything. Like, do you remember how good he was at video games and just how good he was at band, how good he was at just anything
I was his
that he would
sister.
do?
I know how good he was at everything.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's
Like,
complex.
we already talked about older siblings and their higher achievements. Like, come on, guys.
Well, to be honest,
But yeah.
like I mean, obviously, I'm the oldest sibling, and Susie and I's, and well, our brother too. Not that I don't want to.
You're one of the
him.
oldest cousins. One of. You're the third oldest.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure like there's always that like sort of complex on the one level. But to be honest, I was always jealous because I felt like for Susie and Scott, like learning and whatever always came more natural to you. Like you didn't need to work at it as much as I did.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, I had to
felt the
study. I
opposite.
had to study hard if I wanted to do well at things. For you and Scott, it was like you could put in like de minimis effort, and it was
And
just
still
like
pass.
I mean, I
got an
guess to a
A, and I'm like,
point.
fuck you guys.
I mean, I do guess like to a point, but you know what? In all fairness, I remember I felt that really harshly in high school at one point when I was graduating in Mr. Ainsworth class, my horror story. I'm sure Marilyn already remembers, but basically, yeah, I just tried so hard to get the best grade and did my best, and I ended up getting like a C or a D or something, and then all these other people that didn't even like actually put forth the effort and actually do the project fairly, like they cheated and like took stuff from the last year's stuff, and they got better grades than I did, and I was like, what the hell, man? Like, this is so not fair.
To be fair,
I totally went off on a tangent there. I am so sorry. That was my bad.
no, that's okay.
I mean, we all
Bonus back
that's
in.
what our channel is. Tangent after tangent.
It kind of is, and you know, it's not always terrible, but at times I'll catch myself and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that might have been a little off topic. So,
that's okay.
so hone
Well,
it back
like Marilyn
in.
said
Back
last
to music.
episode, like we grew up in the 90s. We're all drinking our coffee and getting super caffeinated together right now.
So now we're just going to talk about whatever we want.
There's gonna be squirrels.
Heck yeah, there are going to be squirrels.
Man, there was 7 squirrels on your mom's porch this morning because it had like the first snow that actually kind of stuck a little this morning. I think now they're all super scavengering.
Oh, well, yeah, and they know where to go.
Our mom spoils
Mom's
the
got
squirrels.
them.
She puts out feed for them every morning, like seeds and like peanuts.
I felt like multiple times a day she does.
Yeah.
They're like her little squirrel
Honestly,
babies.
though, I kind of honestly would rather in the future, like, I know I have cats right now, but in the future, I think I'm done with that, and I would much rather just have, like Mom does, like, just take care of the animals that are right outside.
Take care of nature.
Just be a Disney princess and talk to them. And
Yeah, like, I don't know. I love my cats, don't get me wrong, but they're a lot, and I honestly feel bad that they can't go outside and do their thing sometimes, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
I mean, they can, but I'm a little afraid that they're going to, like, get hit by a car or, like, eaten by, I don't know, or maybe just into a huge fight. Like, oh my god, there are some raccoons around our house right now, and they are big. Like, huge. But, anyway.
So speaking of things that we
fight.
like to watch, like your crazy raccoons and Mom with her squirrels, let's bring this back on topic a little bit.
I like
Yes.
to go to music festivals.
Yeah. I have some mental health issues that make it hard for me to be in public anymore, or at least in large crowds. But I used to like going to them too. Like I haven't been
concerts and
to
live
a
shows.
lot, but yeah. I think I'm trying to remember like what my first concert was. Suze, you might have been with, but it was like Tanya Tucker and like Brian something or other. Brian Adams, maybe. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Brian White.
Brian
It was
White,
Brian
yes.
White, Tanya Tucker, and it was supposed to be Vince Gill, but he ended up, I think, having a family emergency.
Yeah, it was like
This
some
is
like
real 90s country.
yeah, basically. We went
And
to, like,
I
some
think I lost
fair.
my hairy dog at that concert.
You what?
Or maybe I just brought him with to it. Never mind. I think that was the last concert that I had when I had my hairy dog. You remember that?
Oh, that.
And I'm so sorry.
I loved your hairy dog.
I did. That was like my whole world. And
Yeah, you lost it. Well, you
sad.
lost it in Indiana, I think, or something. Like
Yeah, that's right. I think that's why I was like,
something.
you know what? No, that wasn't where I lost him. It wasn't that concert, but I brought him to that concert, and I have a picture of me with him at that concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, you said
but
that
that was
was
such. Honestly, I kind of liked that concert though because Tanya Tucker, she actually kind of inspired me, like to, I don't know. I didn't really care for country music, but I liked her performance at that. I remember that. She was wearing all white and.
Well,
Yeah,
anyway. I think after that we went to NSYNC because obviously
That would have been a cool show.
Yeah, that was
That
fun.
was so cool. They flew in the audience, like on their strings during, what was that song, Sailing?
I think it was Sailing, take me away. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
We got so close to Justin Timberlake. Oh my God.
So my first concert was in 2002, and it was Good Charlotte, and Hoobastank opened
Nice.
for them.
Ooh, that sounds fun. Did you go with
Nice.
anybody? Like, or...
I went with my mom and my dad and my brother.
Aw.
I'm sure the best
Yeah,
time.
well, it wasn't bad because it was in Wisconsin. It was at
Summerfest or
Summerfest.
something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like after that was like my birthday present was getting to go see Good Charlotte because there was one of my favorite bands at the time, and
I used to like them, yeah.
like
They have some good songs.
I liked their earlier albums more than their latter albums. I feel like they kind of became just the typical punk band sellout after a while.
Aw.
Yeah.
I didn't follow them much
Sorry.
afterwards, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I
So
actually
sorry.
went to Summerfest in like 2009 or 10, I think. So I went with Sarah, and we went to go see Colby Calais, and that was like the main person we went to go see. But
I
we
love
saw a
her.
couple other people too. I just can't remember off the top of my head who they were.
Yeah.
I mean, there were others, but I really like Colby Calais, so that was like my primary, memory.
Well,
The most memorable... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Well, I
sorry.
was gonna say, just other than that first concert in 2012, I haven't seen like a whole lot of bands. Like surprisingly, I've been to like the county fair, which of course they have their. I go to the county fair every year, and they have a concert, but it's. I mean, they've had Roddy Adkins, and I can't think of who else right now, but they're usually just like popular-ish country music stars, and
like B-list,
yeah,
C-list maybe.
but people that have songs that are still on the radio
Yeah.
and that and stuff, but not always like something my favorite. But
yeah,
other than that, I've been to Better Than Ezra like 5 times, and I would probably still go to them all the time. Because every time I go to one of their shows, it's usually like 2 or 3 years later down the road, and their main singer is more and more drunk each show I see him at, and it just like the music and the entertainment level of the show itself gets so much better like through the years because
he just loses all his inhibition.
Yeah, he just seems, and their drummer is amazing.
Yeah.
So they could go for like a drum solo that's 20 minutes long, and I would stand there and listen to it. And
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay. So my last concert I went to actually was with your brother, Sam. And we went to go see Florence and the Machine. And then I'm trying to remember who else was there. Of Monsters and Men, I think, was also at that concert. And it was a good concert, but it was like, it was one of those where I wasn't sure if I should go or not, because it was sort of like the beginning of when my mental health, like in terms of like being in big crowds, like started to get really bad.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, we need to be by a wall, and we need to like, I don't know. It was just like, I kind of felt bad for Steve because he was dealing with my bullshit of like, I need to be in a certain place to feel safe and like whatever. Of course, I didn't like frame it like that to him at the time because I didn't want to sound like a crazy person. But that was definitely what was going on. And, yeah, I mean, he was very nice and graceful about it. Like, you know how your brother is.
Yeah.
Like, and he was totally fine about it. But now looking back, I was like, oh my God, he probably hated that experience. But yeah, it was a really good concert despite my, mental health issues. But yeah, and Florence, oh my God, I just love her. And her music, I love it because it's a little witchy too. Like, just her aesthetic, and then, some of the, like, sort of themes and things like that in her music sometimes are...
Like, I wouldn't be able to, like, recognize one of her songs, but Steve's played it for me before, and, like, I've heard things here and there, and I like what I've heard of their stuff, so...
Yeah, it's... and her voice is just, like, amazing. Hers is, like, music that's very unique to me, for me to listen to, at least, because... Like, I really like music that I can sing and belt to, but, like, her voice is just one that I can't really emulate in the way that I can others. And so it's, like, this weird listening experience with me for her, or listening to her specifically, because I just, like, I can't belt it out like I can with most other singers, because her voice is just so unique. And I don't know, it's an interesting listening experience for me, so.
Well, so... I'm going to chime in because you keep bringing up, like, how your mental health has, like, made you not go to as many concerts and that. Where, like, for me, it was kind of the opposite. Like, I was really struggling with my mental health and my PTSD when I started getting more into, like, the music scene. And I actually started out, like, I heard a song by one of my favorite bands now, Bumpin' Uglies, and, like, it just really resonated with me. And so I got into... listening to their music, and finally after listening to their music religiously for 4 years, I went to one of their concerts, and which for me, having PTSD, my PTSD was related to sexual trauma in the military, and there was a bunch of other things involved, but like just so going out in public where like people were drinking and possibly most likely doing other drugs, and like their inhibitions being lowered, just in me being around that was something that I would never see me putting myself into again. But like, I just fell in love with their music so much that I was like, I'm going to their show. Like, and I put it off for like 4 years and then finally did it. And it was amazing. Yeah. Like, you're around people that are like in love with the same band that you're in love with. And like, it just felt like family immediately. And yeah, I'm getting all emotional, but...
No, that's freaking awesome, though, that's able to do that for you, honestly. Like, I've never been to a concert and had an experience like that, so that's really cool that a band can help people, overcome things like that within themselves.
Well, like, after the first show, and I kind of, like, realized, well, that wasn't so bad, I went to a couple more, and then after, like, 3 or 4 shows, I finally was, like, they put on a music festival, and it was their own music festival they were hosting with... their other bands, which I also were in love with. So I went to a music festival, which I never in my life, even before my PTSD, thought that I would be a type of person that would go to a music festival, because, you see them on TV and they're, all these people naked running through the woods doing all kinds of drugs, and you don't, like, they make it, that's what I, like, ignorantly thought a music festival was.
I pictured it more or less like people out on in a field with their blankets and just kind of listening and hanging out and just... I don't know. I didn't necessarily... I never pictured it like that, which is kind of funny.
Is what it, like, came down to be. But it was... It was on the top of a mountain. So, like, we're in the mountain in the middle of nowhere. And it was awesome. Like, we rented a camper and stayed up there. And I brought my boyfriend and my best friend. And my boyfriend brought his best friends. And we just
had a great weekend.
Yes. It was amazing.
That's awesome. But I can relate to a certain degree in terms of like mental health. Like yours was like going to and being immersed in that experience. But like I get immersed in like songs. Like if I am in a mood or like if I'm having a bad mental health day or something like that, a lot of times music is something that I'll go to. Of course, I need to be like mindful of the kind of music I'm listening to because sometimes I'm not sure it's like entirely the most healthy thing. So like if I'm like in a sad or whatever depressing mood or depressed mood rather, you know, like if I'm listening to like really sad love songs, which are something that I love sappy, sad, deep love songs. But if I'm like in a certain kind of mood or whatever, I need to be careful about probably listening to that kind of music.
Honestly, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I honestly, for some reason, I have my different playlists set for my different moods. Because then when I'm in a mood where I'm feeling like that kind of a music would be productive for me, like, I can listen to it for a little while. But like you said, I don't like to get sucked into it for too long of a time because then I feel that I retreat to the past and I sort of like relive things that I'm not wanting to. Sorry.
Well, as she was about to say that, I was writing a note saying that I need to step back from emotional songs, and I do that a lot because my emotions feed off of them, and then maybe I'll stay in my negative feelings longer because I'm feeding them with that.
Yeah. I need to be in a good headspace before I enjoy the sad songs rather than listening to the sad songs when I'm already sad and depressed or like whatever. Like, I think there's a healthy way to enjoy them. It's just like there can also be unhealthy ways to enjoy them. At least for me. I can't necessarily speak to everyone's experience, of course, but we were going to talk about our favorites, who we like, artists that we like, and
recommendations.
Yeah. So who wants to go first?
Sam, you want to do?
Well, sure. Yeah, sorry. Well, so I already dropped a couple names, like Bumpin' Uglies. They hosted the festival, and then Tropidelic. They're a very similar. Like they're all these bands that I listen to, kind of are all in the same group. Like they play shows together, and they. But
how would you describe their music? Like sort of.
So like Bumpin' Uglies is a little more like ska-esque reggae, but also like they do a whole lot of other things other than that. So it's kind of hard to like label any of them because they're so like diversatile that they do a lot. Like I don't know, punk-ish ska band, stoner bands. Maybe. Well, because the third one's Joint Operation, and they're like probably my favorite at the moment. My favorite for the past like couple of years. They kind of topped the list. So, and they're like the youngest of the bands, like age-wise and band-wise.
Do you have favorite songs from them that you would recommend?
I do, and well, so my number one's going to be probably Leviathan today because that's like today's Leviathan's 6-month birthday. Ooh. And he's kind of named after the song because he was conceived at a different music festival that I haven't talked about yet, but Tropidelic, the people who sing Leviathan, like they host a music festival called Freak Stomp, and that's kind of where he was conceived. So
nice.
Yeah, and
isn't this the festival that you brought your big
my mannequin lab? Yes, because I'm that weird super fan that prints out 100 copies of their fucking things and glues them to a mannequin and brings it to their show.
And you dressed it in velvet pants.
Yeah, I dressed it in pink velvet pants because that's a song by Joint Operation. It's a great song.
Nice.
And it just gave me a reason to buy pink velvet pants, which I bought a pair for the band, and now they wear them. Jacob from the band, he wears them around at shows, and every time I see pictures of him on stage with my pants on, I'm like, yeah,
he's wearing.
Dude, that is so awesome.
I contributed to your thing.
Well, dude, I've seen you. I've seen you wearing those pants, and I'm like, damn, those things look comfortable. Like,
dude, Trevor looks great in the pants. Like, I look great in the pants. When we wore the pants, like, the whole music festival at Freak Stomp, and everybody was like, dude, let me feel your pants. And I got felt up by so many people at that music festival, and surprisingly, I didn't feel, like, anxious about it. It was, like, a comfortable environment.
Like
that is so weird,
so
given your history, that you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. Like, really, if you think about it.
That sounds really fun.
We're the Velvet Pants couple now. When music festivals are allowed to meet again, because, you know,
COVID and shit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ruining
That's
music
so
all around the world.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but I'll post a picture of, like, my mannequin lamp that I made of all of their album covers. So, like, I printed their album covers, and I Mod Podged them to this mannequin, and then I drilled a hole in the top of it so I could put a speaker, which is also, like, a torchlight, outdoor waterproof speaker. So, like, he plays music, he's got the Velvet Pants, he's got all of their album covers on it, and then the majority of everyone who played at that festival signed him.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Like,
that's artsy as F, and it's really cool. It's like one of the coolest things.
I love it. It's in the middle of my living room
cool.
next to my other mannequin lamp that I made for college. Like, we had to recycle things. That's where my first idea of the mannequin lamp came from, was we had to upcycle something that we had in our house. And, you know, I just happened to have 11 mannequins in my basement.
She's not creep at all.
Hey, it's in your blood, you know? You knew that you would find a good use for them someday. You couldn't just throw them away.
Yeah, I didn't want them thrown out, and I worked retail when I acquired them, and the store that I worked at was just throwing them in dumpsters, like, hundreds at a time, and I'm like, that's a lot of landfill space. I'm going to take these home with me, and I put as many as I could in my car and took them home.
Yeah.
Do they still do that? Like, throw them away and go
when
through
they do
them?
remodels and stuff, yeah, they just, like, they got rid of so much stuff, like dumpsters and upon dumpsters every day of our remodel when we remodeled our stores. So
Yeah.
Well, good for you for taking them and repurposing something that...
yeah, now I got some lamps.
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of signatures on them from
cool
really
as
awesome
hell.
people. Yeah.
I'm excited for you to post pictures of that online, because I every time I see that thing, I'm just like, that is like so freaking cool.
Yes. And like, awesome. Of course, there's like people from certain bands, I won't name which ones, but like they had to put their signatures on the most inappropriate places, and they're like, hee hee hee, check out the balls, that's me.
All right.
Thanks, guys, for signing the taint. Thank you.
That's really funny.
It's probably great memories, though, let's be honest.
They were all so proud of it, too, because, like, every single one of them that signed it somewhere, like, haha, like, had to come and, like, tell me to, like, hey, check it out right here. And, like, they were proud to show it off, so it's great.
So you went over, so Bumpin' Uglies, you said Tropodelic, Joint Operation.
Oh, so those are, like, probably my ones that other people aren't really going to recognize, because they're not on, like, the big, huge radio stations. But one that a lot of people should recognize is Fleetwood Mac. And that's like my go-to, like any mood I'm in, I could put it on and just
I mean, how could you
vibe?
How can you not vibe to like
Yes.
Fleetwood Mac? It's I think it's an impossibility to not vibe them.
Well, and it's got like a good retro beat too, or if I want to get my hula hoop out that day and I could just sit there and like spin circles all day.
And, like, I think Stevie Nicks is just, like, total witchy vibes anyway.
Yes.
And, like, it's totally appropriate that Ryan Murphy put her, like, as herself in American Horror Story Coven.
I mean...
So what's your favorite? Because, Susie, I know that you like Fleetwood Mac, too, I think. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who do you listen to?
Well, I mean, like, personally, my favorite one of Fleetwood Mac's is probably Landslide. That's just one that I'm sure a ton of people can relate to.
Not my favorite, actually, but it's a good one.
See, I'm more mainstream. That is one thing that I have to admit on this, is that I don't really take the time, like, One thing that's kind of sucky that I've noticed upon doing this episode is the fact that I don't take the time to really get to know the artists that I love. Because I mean, there are certain ones that I'll like hear the mainstream song they sing or some of the mainstream songs they sing, and I like them, but I don't delve deeper into some of the other songs on their albums, which I have in the past, and I've always found that if you listen to a full album, you can really get to know a person and their heart and like kind of where they're coming from in life, and I really can appreciate getting into an album, you know what I mean? Which, like I said, I have not done that in years, but
I really like listening to full albums.
There's a part
I don't always, but
right,
well,
I haven't done it
like,
often.
I feel like you get to see like other moods and sides of the artist than just like, oh, this is an upbeat song and that's how I see that artist because like that's the only song I've heard of them. But... Right.
Everyone is so diverse within their own personalities and they can express it in all those ways that you don't otherwise find out about. Like honestly, one of the people that I actually am a big fan of that is mainstream that I'm sure a lot of people are a big fan of is Ed Sheeran. And like you just said, he has so many different songs out there that show so many different sides of his personality that I can appreciate that. But again, it's I think partially because I don't take the time to get to know the artists, because I'm sure there's so many out there that have such great songs that I would love, but I'm more mainstream. Like I like Ed Sheeran, I like Justin Timberlake, I like Michael Jackson. I'll go as far back as Elvis, but it's one of those things that like
I think those are all fair answers.
Yeah, I think everybody can.
They're not like my favorites, but
they're like my go-to songs. Like when I have just a song that I can think of when I try to think of my favorite artist, I think of somebody that I can think of a range of songs that I like to go to as a go-to song, and those are my top artists when I think of that. Like, I definitely have favorite songs of certain people that are not them.
Same.
But yeah, so. How about you, Marilyn? Like, who are your favorites? Well, I mean...
I want to interject real quick, because the one that I didn't mention was, like, Better Than Ezra, and I did mention them, like, when I was talking about my shows that I've been to.
Yeah.
But before I even went to one of their shows, the reason that I got into that band was it was one of the first cars that I had. It was a red Saturn, I think, and it was, like, a hand-me-down that my parents got my brother for him to drive, and then when he moved out, like, it became my car. Or something. There might have been another cart in between. I don't remember, but
somehow you ended up with this
I had to replace the CD player in it, or maybe it only had a cassette, and I wanted to put a CD player or something. I bought a CD player for it, and I was installing it in the parking lot of Walmart by myself, not knowing a damn thing about cars or electrical players or
pulling up YouTube.
But I figured it out. I put it in and installed it, and I went inside because I didn't have a CD to test it out, and I found like Better Than Ezra's Greatest Hits, and it was the first CD I found. It was like on this clearance dollar rack or something, and I bought it not hearing Better Than Ezra before in my life, and it became my favorite CD, and it was like their Greatest Hits album, and so that was like a random like, oh yeah, that's how I got into that band, and I thought of it during your story, so I just
No, honestly, I kind of love stuff like that. Like I do it all the time, obviously, so I am okay when people do it. Obviously, but I love stories like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the artists that I ended up really resonating with were just sort of like happenstance or serendipitous sort of hearings, you know, that I just clung to in the moment, and then I listened to more of them, and it was just like a good fit for me.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's what I lack is the fact that like there are so many artists that I've heard songs of that I appreciate and I love, like even some of the, I think even some of your favorites, Marilyn, I've heard songs of people that you have introduced me to, and I love them, but I don't delve deep into, like, getting more of their songs heard, you know? So I'd like to do that more in the future when I have more time, because, I love music.
One of my favorite ways to, like, find new artists is I'll go to, like, an artist that I already really like, or, like, an album I already really like on Spotify, and then I'll go to play the radio station of that band or of that.
Similar stuff.
Yeah, because they'll play similar artists and, like, other things that are very close to the genres, and, It's actually how I discovered Bumpin' Uglies originally, too.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, just a random, so it's kind of random, but it's almost not. So, like, I'm not a super fan of this person, but at the same time, I really, really appreciate when I found out about her. So I was watching AGT because I totally love America's Got Talent, and there was this girl on there, and basically when she was younger, she was a singer, and as she got older, she lost her hearing, her sense of hearing, but she could still sing.
Oh, yeah, I remember her.
Yes,
I don't remember her name, but
her name is Mandy Harvey. I actually looked it up because I just wanted to make sure that I got it clear. Her name is Mandy Harvey, and two of the songs that I recommend looking up is her Audition, and it's called Try. Super beautiful. And then another one, so basically what I've come to appreciate about her performances is the fact that she is deaf now, and so she relates to the deaf community, and as she sings, she signs. And it's so beautiful to watch sign language sung. If you guys have never have you guys never seen her perform?
I think I've actually seen the audition that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I agree, it was amazing.
Yeah. She does another performance called Release Me, and it's really good. So, yeah, if anybody hasn't heard of her or checked her out, check her out. She's great.
Speaking of, like, sorry, do you want to...
Oh, I'm done. That's it. Yep.
Sure. Well, so I was going to say, talking of, like, signed singing, I don't know if either of you watched Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, but there's an episode, they do a rendition of a song in sign, and it's just so freaking beautiful.
I would love to see that. I bet I would just have chills and tears and emotions.
Susie, you would definitely be crying.
Oh yeah, I probably will be.
The music that I've actually ever seen signed was like really heavy speed rap. So like completely different.
Yeah,
I would love to see that too. I've never seen that either.
Oh, it's really cool to see like signers who like really get into like faster beat music or like rap or like whatever, like watching them sign is like
crazy.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, I want to check that out.
Saying those words and articulating words that quickly, like, but this person's using their whole body to say this language.
I think that's what is so awesome to watch is their body language. Not only the movements that they create, but also the thing that's also funny, not funny, but what is so awesome to me about sign language is that if you look at the movements that they make in regards to the words that they're saying, it totally would make almost sense, the movement they make, you know?
Well, I think in a lot of ways,
it's so beautiful to watch. It really is.
I think in a lot of ways, these individuals who are signing for like shows,
they feel it through their body.
It's almost like they feel it through their body, and I think they become or create an art of their own in those moments. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like they are the instrument.
Yeah.
Their whole body is.
Absolutely. And I think it's like an art all of its
Well, especially with music, too. Like, they're not just conveying the words. They're conveying, like, the emotion that's along with it. So, like, they're using their facial expressions.
Similar to dance. It's almost like they're not dancing, obviously, but, language. They're
kinda.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
well, and in some ways,
powerful.
like, I think that translation is an art of its own. Like, you give someone a text and ask them to translate into a different language, whether it be sign language or like another spoken language.
It's still an interpretation.
You're going to come out with like several different iterations of that, and some are going to be better than others. So like if you get a great interpreter at a show who's willing to like really get into it and put their whole body into it, like I mean, obviously they're kind of putting their body into it in general, no matter what.
Well, like
but,
interpretive dance, even
feel it down to my bones kind of way.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you can find some really incredible.
I mean, dance could be almost a whole nother episode, really.
But yeah, I agree. Her audition was really, really powerful. Mandy Harvey's.
Yes.
I agree. And you can find some really good talent in those shows. I followed up with talent before.
Who was that girl
after seeing them on shows like that?
Who was that little girl that was on there too? Girl, that's why you need to go on that show, by the way. I have told you so many times you need to get on there, but just saying. Anyways,
I was as confident as you.
Girl, I wish that I had the talent that you have because then I would go for it.
I don't know.
It's like you see people with talent.
I'm my own worst enemy and my own biggest critic, but yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes. But really quick, there was another little girl that came off of that show. I think her name was Gracie something? Grace Vanderwall.
Yes.
She had the ukulele, correct?
She played the ukulele.
Yes, she was really talented too. I would check her out if you haven't seen her.
I have one of her albums actually.
Oh, cool.
Library.
Yeah, that's right. She came out. Yeah, I remember when she first came out with that. I think I listened to a couple of those songs actually. So I was just interested.
Yeah, she's super talented.
But So, Marilyn, who else? I know that me and Sam kind of delved into our favorites, but who are your favorites?
Well, I like Sam. Am very much into like low key artists. Like they're not necessarily super well known yet or whatever. Like, and I've followed like some artists who have become really big. Like I was listening to Charlie Puth when he was like a baby on YouTube.
I love Charlie Puth.
I know, he's so freaking talented, and I'm glad he made it into the mainstream because I think he's so freaking talented. But yeah, I mean, I was listening to him when he was like doing covers on YouTube and releasing like on YouTube like some originals, you know.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I was just
gonna be like, he's so talented.
I was just gonna add to that the fact that that's what I would love to do is like Charlie Puth. I know that you have shown me some songs by him that I just freaking love, but yet
and some of it's from like before he became mainstream.
Yes, a lot of it was actually that you were showing me, so that's why I was like, man, why don't I delve into artists like that? Like I love him, but I don't know a lot of his songs. Like I know the mainstream ones mostly. So anyways, sorry, I just wanted to add that as a tidbit to that.
Well, I wonder if it in part comes from like part of the reason I use YouTube is to find music. Like a lot of it is just sort of like incidental, like they were recommended to me as I was listening to someone else or like whatever who's not super mainstream. So I think it kind of depends on the sort of internet sort of ecosystem we've created for ourselves via the algorithms they use.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so I find a lot of people like Megan Tonjes. I freaking love her.
Oh, she's deep, man. She is so
and she's
good.
just sort of an internet personality in general now. But like, she does music and she's super talented. I think I love her music,
dude. Honestly, as soon as you showed me her, I thought of you a little bit. To be honest, like I don't know why, but I feel like you and her kind of, to me, anyways, have similar vibes. But that's just me.
I can see it a little bit.
But yeah,
through Megan Tonjes, I also found someone else that I really like named Luna Blake. And her, I don't know, she's just got a vibe to her music that I just love. And then
her I've never
Millie
heard of.
Tizard is another. She's Australian, and she can take basically any song and just turn it into almost this haunting, sad ballad, and it's oh my god,
I need to check that out.
Beautiful.
Sam's like, that's right up my alley.
Well, she probably has some music that she's turned into like her own thing that you're probably familiar with. I feel like the music that she listened to remind like of the genre and things like that you used to listen to back in the day, like Better Than Ezra and things like that. And she like kind of puts her own spin on those songs. Like, so even if they're sort of fast and like whatever in their own right, like she turns them into these like hauntingly beautiful songs. Her voice in general is just like, oh,
nice.
I could listen to it forever.
Do you have a favorite song of hers that you'd recommend?
I've been listening a lot. She just came out with a song called Oblivion. She doesn't have a whole lot of originals out, but she does have a few. She just came out with Oblivion. Like
I love remixes and redo like.
Well, she does a lot of covers right now.
Or covers. That's what I mean to say.
She's a very small artist. Like. And I think she needs.
She's a growing artist. She's a growing artist.
But yeah, she doesn't have a huge following or anything.
That's okay though. Like you said, sometimes everybody has to start somewhere, and sometimes the talent, needs to be recognized and then talked about. So, if she's worth talking about.
As far as like more slightly mainstream artists that I like a lot, I like Queen Herbie, who used to be a part of Carmen. She actually made her way up from YouTube too, but she's like she's a very, very talented singer, but she's more known for her ability for fast rapping.
Yes.
She became famous because of a Ludacris, I think it was a Ludacris cover that she did on YouTube.
Wasn't it Busta Rhymes?
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was Busta Rhymes. Yeah, because I like Busta Rhymes, honestly. But when you showed me her, oh gosh, what is the name of that song? I love it. It's called. Oh, I can't think of it. I'm gonna have to look it up or something. But we'll put a link down below or something if we can. But definitely, it's great.
We'll share it like on Facebook or something for sure. And then I think. So Leon Bridges, he's a little bit more famous these days. And I did find him once he started becoming quasi in the mainstream. But
what's his name?
His voice is just amazing. Leon Bridges.
Oh, yes.
And what type of work does he do?
He does sort of like, so his vibe, at least in the album that I love the most, is sort of like mainstream modern 60s, if that makes sense. But there are probably some songs that aren't quite that you may have heard before. Like there's River, and it's sort of like a, I don't even know how, it's like very smooth. It's just like, I don't know.
I might have heard this song because there's a song on my playlist that I don't know who it's by, but it's called River, and it's very like
take me to your river. I wanna know.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, that's Leon Bridges. Oh my God, he's just fucking amazing. It's just like soulful and like, just feel it down. You know, you can get like goosebumps from it, you know?
Yes.
But then like, I think my main squeeze though, she is pretty famous now, but I've been listening to her since like she was not that famous. But Sarah Bareilles,
I love her.
I think she is way underrated, and she's so talented, and like I love her.
Well, so I don't keep up with her. Is she still making albums? Has she put one out recently? Yeah.
So, well, actually, she got a deal with Apple TV, and she just made a show that's like, you can tell it's like quasi based on her life, just not exactly, called Little Voice. And so she did all the music for it, but it's a bit about this like artist who's like struggling artist who's trying to make it in the business in New York and like whatever. And she's got a very Sarah Bareilles aesthetic and obviously sound because the music's written by Sarah Bareilles.
Yeah.
But, so she just came out, like, with a sub-album of her singing the songs for that, because obviously they were originally performed by the actress in it, but she released her own versions of it. But she was also on Broadway recently. She helped write the book, or the lyrics, rather, for, or the music more generally, for Waitress, the musical.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that was on Broadway up until recently, and also like other like famous theater places and things around the world, and so, or like theater centers, I guess you'd say. I don't know what you'd term it. But so I think the most recent album she did though, which is like one of the things I consistently listen to. I listen to this album at least once a week, I think. Like, and I'm not exaggerating, but it's called Amidst the Chaos, and she released it in, I think, 2017 or 18. So like, I mean, I've been listening to it since it came out. And it is a very political album. It's very much a concept album in that way, I think. But yeah, it's an amazing album. I just can't really recommend it enough, personally. So
we'll have to check it out.
Nice.
Oh, she released it it was 2019. I'm giving it like,
we've
already lived like 20 years this year, so.
Quarantine time. It's been 5 years already.
That's right. But yeah, it's, I just recommend it.
Nice. Well, I had another one I was going to recommend that I didn't think of originally, but Todrick Hall is one that not many people have heard of.
I love him. I've been watching his YouTube videos for like years and years and years.
Yes, I love him. And so Todrick Hall, he does great work, and my brother actually introduced him to me. My brother took me to Market Days near Chicago, which is like a pride festival, and it was amazing, and Todrick Hall was there, and this man turns into like the most glammed up, amazing drag queen in like half a minute. Like he sang his first song like Manly, and then he went backstage for like the intro of his next song, and like 30 seconds later came out full drag and like
looking
amazing.
Yeah. I have heard
like
that drag. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna be like, it's like nails, hair.
Yes,
heels.
And he made a parody of his own song, a quarantine parody, and it's like he had a whole quarantine album, and it's the best album ever. Like, well, I'll just have to link like videos below.
I love his like the videos that he used to do too, where like, this is not his original music, but he used to like do like variations of like Beauty and the Beast songs.
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah,
whatever.
he has a lot of fun videos that I'm like, so a funny story about him is I listen to him so much on Spotify that one day I got like a random notification through Spotify saying that I listen to him more than like 0.1% of the entire population of the world or something. Like, I'm one of his biggest fans and I listen to his music. Like, and I sent it to my brother and I was like, that's weird. Like, I must be obsessed.
He's so good though. He actually played in Waitress the Musical.
Yeah.
For a while. Yeah.
You said,
yeah, I know he was really big in
Boss.
musicals and yeah.
Well, he was on Kinky Boots, I think, on Broadway too. So, yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't leave him out. So I was like, as soon as I like clicked in my head for some reason, I was like, I have to mention him now.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, just throwing this out there, I don't know why it's clicking in my head now, but I want to mention this too. Basically, when it comes to musicals that you guys were just mentioning, two of the musicals that I really love, that I've always loved, and they're kind of my go-tos as far as any musicals, because I'm not usually a fan of musicals. I know Marilyn really is, but as far as film, I love Moulin Rouge and I love Chicago.
So good. Oh yeah, I love those.
I don't know what it is, but when it comes to the music... Oh, go ahead.
Across the Universe was my big one.
I don't know if I saw
I
that
love
one.
Julie Taymor, who directed that movie.
Yeah. Does she do other musicals? Is that you...
I don't know if she's done other musicals specifically. Well, actually, she was supposed to be involved, I think, in like some Spider-Man musical or some shit.
What?
Like on Broadway? Let me look this up. I don't know. I might be freaking a crazy
Making
person
things...
or something.
I doubt it. I'm sure you're...
My memory is very terrible too, as we all know from the past videos. I was very vague on some things.
It's better to be vague than to be misinformed and say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm learning that.
It looks like she does some Broadway directing in general. But yeah, there's a Spider-Man musical that went awry. I don't know if it ever ended up even previewing or anything, but she was involved. And I think she did like the Lion King, it's saying here, maybe. I'm just reading like the slugs online, but yeah. But I love her films. She did like Titus Andronicus, the Shakespeare play. She did a really good adaptation of it. And then she also did...
Wait, Titus Andronicus is an actual play?
Yes.
See, I thought it was just a character in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh.
Isn't that him?
Well,
Isn't his name Titus?
His name is Titus. But I think it's like Titus... I think I think that's his real name.
Okay.
But I think his name is Titus Burgess, is like his first and last name, I think.
Okay.
So
but then he like dresses up as a robot and he calls himself Titus Andronicus, right?
Maybe. Does he?
In Unbreakable Kimmy.
I haven't watched that in so long.
I have not seen that, so I have no idea.
So
I've heard of it.
So maybe I don't know. I'll have to like try and find it. But Titus Andromedon.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, I just found it too.
Yeah. So but yeah, he's it's a movie, but it's originally a Shakespeare play. But she did an adaptation of it like in the 90s or something like that. But her stuff is very visually interesting, I think. So she did like a Gloria Steinem biopic sort of deal recently. She's done a lot of stuff. But anyway, yeah, Julie Taymor's really talented. So musicals, though, I listen to a lot of musicals, and I love the ones that you mentioned already. See, Moulin Rouge in Chicago. But like, I'm somebody who will sometimes just like listen to that like albums from like the original cast or whatever. Like,
I remember you loved
like
Glee. I remember you loved Glee, and I remember you loved
that was like more of a TV show,
Drop Dead
musical,
Diva. I think it was.
Drop Dead Diva was good, but that wasn't really a music. I mean, she sang sometimes, but it wasn't really a musical per se. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I really like like right now I've been listening to I think it's called 8. It's about a musical about Henry VIII's wives. Many of them. And then I listen to Hamilton a lot. I listen to Waitress on occasion. I listen to, there's one that was introduced to me like several years ago by Miranda Susie. I'm sure you sort of remember her.
Oh yeah.
I lived with her for a while, and obviously we grew up with her.
Yes.
And so she sent me, it's called Next to Normal, and it's, I don't know, I listen to the album for that sometimes too. It's just really good.
Sorry, I got us kind of off topic when I brought up musicals. I apologize. But I mean not off topic, I guess, but it wasn't necessarily something that would, I don't know, continue on topic either. So, sorry.
Thank you for tuning in for the first half of our conversation on music. You can catch the second half of this conversation next Wednesday.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review below.
You can also join our coven by following us on social media at Midwest Coven on Twitter and at Midwest Coven Cast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
You can also find us at midwestcovencast.com. Until next time, blessed be.